Do you ever notice this? There are people over 60 who live alone, yet they look so peaceful, so content, as if they are not missing anything at all. Not lonely, not sad, just this calm, gentle energy that makes you want to sit next to them a little longer. Hello, I am William Harper. I am at the age where, when I make my morning coffee, I no longer count the teaspoons of sugar. I count the number of times I still smile. After 30 years of working with older adults, I have met many people like that. And they all share one thing in common. Their silence is not empty. It is full of something magnetic, something from within. Today, I want to share with you 10 of those inner qualities. And who knows, maybe you will recognize a little bit of yourself in them. The first quality, they have a rich inner universe. When you no longer hear other people's televisions, when your phone stops ringing all day, you begin to hear the voice within yourself. I remember Mrs. Ann, 84 years old, a former librarian. Her small house was filled with books, from classic novels to thick philosophy volumes. But the best part was that she had a story for each one, about a feeling, a memory, or a lesson that book had brought her. When you talk with her, you feel like stepping into another world where everything has depth. Anne showed me that living alone does not mean being lonely, because she has a whole garden of her soul to live in. The second quality, they are beautifully independent. My neighbor Frank is 68, widowed for several years. He never complains. He fixes his own sink, plans his own trips, and sometimes throws his own barbecue just to grill a few steaks and play some jazz. Once I asked, "Frank, don't you ever feel lonely?" He laughed. "Of course I do. But I also feel lonely when I have to wait for someone else to do things for me." He was right. Living alone teaches you how to take care of yourself, to take responsibility for your own happiness. Independence is not hardness. It is the freedom to do what brings you joy without needing anyone's permission. The third quality is they have deep self-awareness. Years of living alone help them understand themselves better than most people ever could. Mrs. Susan, 71, once told me that through journaling and meditating every morning, she has learned what truly makes her happy and what drains her energy. The more we understand ourselves, the more peaceful we become. People like Susan do not need anyone to validate their worth. They shine from within. I love how she talks about aging as if it were an old friend, not something to fight, but something to live in harmony with. The fourth quality, they appreciate the little things. Mrs. Linda, 77, told me she watches the sunrise every morning, not because she is romantic, but because there was a time when she could not even get out of bed due to joint pain. She said, "Now if I can stand up, make myself a cup of tea, and listen to the birds sing, that is already a beautiful day." People like Linda remind me that joy does not live in grand things, but in our ability to pause, to slow down, to be grateful, and to feel content right where we are. We often look for happiness in distant places, but real happiness lives in the moment you stop and give thanks. Let me pause for a second. I want to take this moment to say thank you. I have read so many of your wonderful comments, and I see that many of you have subscribed to the channel. It is hard to express how much that means to me. Every subscription, every comment feels like a reminder that we are building something warm, kind, and connected together. That feeling, it is what keeps me going. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. The fifth quality, they are resilient and brave enough to start over. Take Mr. Jack, 74, a former soldier. After losing his wife, he did not run from grief. He learned to live with it. He found peace in nature, walking a few miles every day, carrying a small notebook. He would write simple lines. I am still here. I am still grateful for the morning light. After working with hundreds of elderly patients, I've realized those who embrace stillness are calmer and steadier in hard times. The ones I know who live alone do not fall apart. They start again, slowly but surely. That is their quiet strength, not in appearing tough, but in staying peaceful inside. The sixth quality, they are creative simply for the joy of it. Mrs. Rose, 80 years old, took up painting after retirement. Her living room is full of paintings, flowers, skies, and a few chubby cats. I asked, "Are you planning to sell them?" She smiled, "No, I paint for me. I am my own best customer." When you have your own space, you start creating in your own way. And when you do not need anyone's praise, creativity becomes the purest kind of joy. The seventh quality, they set clear boundaries and feel no guilt saying no. Mrs. Carroll, 73, is an expert in what I call the art of polite refusal. Everyone loves inviting her to parties. If she feels tired, she simply smiles and says, "Tonight I have an appointment with myself." Not cold, just full of self-respect. She taught me that taking care of yourself is not selfish. It is how you stay kind to others. The eighth quality, they have compassionate hearts. Living alone does not mean being cold. In fact, it often makes them more empathetic because they understand their own emotions deeply. Mrs. Nancy, 82, was a social worker. Now she still volunteers at a community center, listening to stories that no one else wants to hear. When I asked why she does it every day, she said, "Because I know how it feels to need someone to listen." Only those who have lived with silence understand the value of a shared word. Loneliness, when embraced the right way, can turn into kindness. The ninth quality, they love slowly and deeply. Interestingly, people who live alone often appreciate their friends and loved ones even more. They do not need many, they just need the right ones. Mr. Henry, 78, meets his close friends a few times a week. When they are together, no one checks their phones, no one rushes. They talk, they laugh, and they savor every moment. He said, "When I am alone, I recharge. When I am with my friends, I use that energy to love them fully." That, I think, is the peak of balance. Living alone teaches us that friendship, family, and love are not measured by quantity, but by genuine presence. The 10th quality, they see life with softer eyes. You know, there is something I deeply admire about older adults who live alone. They stop judging and start understanding. Mrs. Nancy, 80 years old, once told me, "I used to get mad when people were late, when the neighbors were noisy, when my grandkids made a mess. Now I just laugh because I know they are still young." Living alone gives them the quiet to learn forgiveness, acceptance, and the ability to smile. Not because they are weak, but because they have realized life is short. Why waste it being angry? The older they get, the gentler they become with others and with themselves. So if you are living alone, do not think you are lost. You are walking a path that many people dream of, a path of freedom, peace, and fulfillment from within. Make yourself a cup of tea, play your favorite song, and smile, because you are still living, and living beautifully. I am Dr. William Harper. Thank you for being here and for listening. If this video made your heart a little lighter, please like, subscribe, and share your story in the comments. Because who knows, your story might help someone out there learn to love their own quietness too. If you enjoy this video, then there's a good chance you will also like this one. Go ahead and watch it now. Thank you.